All right, welcome back to ROI Live in 5. I'm back with one of my favorite people, Kayla Slice, and we are going to be talking today about something that we both find very important that we actually both use, which is called the expectations conversation. Kayla, thanks for being back with us here. What's the expectations conversation, and why is it something that businesses should use?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. The expectations conversation is a list of key questions that you have a conversation around. And the conversation part of this is actually really important. Going over the expectations of how to work well together,
Mhm.
what we can expect from one another, and how we're going to hold one another accountable for the things that we mentioned. And it just gives you a template to follow to
Mm.
make sure you go over all those important topics. Why is it important? Why should people use it? People should use it because if you don't slow down, you're not asking these questions.
Mm.
You don't think to ask the questions. It's not that you don't want to, you just don't come up with it. And when you do this conversation well, and not only the conversation well, but also that you are who you said you were in that conversation, you've built such a foundation of trust in the relationship. And we obviously know what trust can do.
Yeah. And I want to definitely dig into this a little bit more. One of the statistics that I find just fascinating is that 80% of people in business, that's everybody, that's
Yeah.
employees at every stage, that's leaders, that's CEOs, think that poor communication is just a crisis in American businesses right now. So, what I want to dig at a little bit more with you is what does candid, like that's one of my favorite things about working with you is like you know how to get to the point in a very kind, loving way, but like you're going to say the things. What does real conversation look like in this? And let's unpack a little bit more of how you do this.
Yeah. So, as an example, one of the questions in this expectations dialogue is how does someone win with you? And here's how someone wins with me. So, I just want to use a question so we can kind of roll with it. So, how do you have this conversation? Is you say, when you just engage in the conversation, you care about what the other person is saying. And there's two ways to do that. One is be present during this conversation, no phones, no interruptions, no emails, your computer isn't out, but also you're prepared for it. So when you have this kind of template, you can think about it and come up
Right.
with your answers ahead of time. And so you're not listening to respond, you've already come up with your answers. And so that really, really helps you. So that's like, how am I present
Mm.
in this conversation? And then you do need to think through how does someone win with me? How are even tricky ways that I need to some in the failures of communication, it's often an unspoken
Yes.
unmet expectations is where these things fail, right? Like, I didn't
Absolutely.
know you wanted that, but you're frustrated with me for not reading your mind that you wanted that. So if anyone has friendships or partners or spouses or coworkers, like, you understand this idea. And so, hey, leader, I'm telling you, reflect and get ready for whatever that is. And so you're saying, I get to the point, my template is to the point because I know what it's like to win with me and how you can lose with me.
Mm.
And but when I lay it out up front, it's not a surprise later.
Yes.
If I lay out up front, like, any idea is a good idea, I'm always open all the time to anything anyone has to say it in front of anybody, but that's not how I operate,
Yep.
then I didn't, like, I'm not who I said I was. And then that kind of erodes the whole thing.
Yeah. And that leads me to my next quick question is when is the right time to do something like this? What would you say on like what does it look like when, and then what's the frequency? Is this something you should do more than once?
Yeah. Well, the right time is if you haven't done it now, right? Like,
Right.
the right time to plant a tree was however many years ago, and the second best time is right now. So if you haven't done it, now's the right time. As far as the process, I know that, the plan that we follow has this conversation done in the interview process, and I think that's great. Especially if you're prepared and you show up present, really wanting to hear how to win with the person, then they will probably meet you in that.
Hmm.
Um, Another thing that I do say, since mine are prepared and I'm kind of springing this on someone in the interview process, I say, if you hear my answers and that generates a new idea for you, we can go back and edit it. Like you're not being graded on this. This is me really trying to learn you and set the foundation for a great working relationship. So if anything pops up, I want to know and I want to
Right.
write it down. Um, I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think too, like in discussing some of the ROI side of this, one statistic I share, because we do hiring and
Yeah.
training, I think sometimes people forget that hiring doesn't stop when you hire the person. Like if you
Right.
do not have the right training process, you're going to be looking for someone else in 6 months. One
Yep.
out of three employees right now in the United States are not lasting through 6 months in the position. So, some estimates even have it up to 50%. So it is way more expensive to replace someone if you're not communicating and training well and
Yeah.
setting the right expectations. So this is definitely a retention tool.
Yes.
Effective communication can certainly enhance your productivity as well. Any other ROI items for like why
Yep.
you need to do this today if you haven't done it to your point?
Well, you asked about frequency, and I think that when we do it in the interview process, they're still auditioning too. And
Yeah.
honestly, in the beginning of the role, you're still auditioning. So I would say to do it a few times. At some point, you've hit your stride in the relationship, and it probably doesn't need to be redone again.
Mhm.
But as far as ROI goes, I mean, books like The Speed of Trust and other things, like we know if we're scaling our businesses that a trusting relationship or dysfunctions of a team or like
Right.
anything. Foundation, trust. Like you cannot run without trust. And this is such a beautiful way on both sides. One, I told you what my expectations are and I didn't have any surprises.
Yes.
Huge trust builder. The second is you told me what was important to you and I honored it.
Hmm.
I mean, can you win even more with that? Like, so when you're saying in retention, I'm going to say in we're going to have times that we have to move quickly and we might offend someone and we someone might not understand something all the way when they need to act on it. The only way you can do that is with trust and with an understanding of that person that I'm working with that I know how they show up. They're consistent with it. They hear me. And
Mhm.
so we can solve this. And so when you have the relationship that can solve any problem that comes, you're set. Like we can learn skills.
Right.
We can add systems and tools. That's not a problem. But that relationship of trust, if we're saying 80% of people say it's a problem, then our complete foundation of scaling our business is eroded.
Yeah.
So if we change that to even 15%,
Right.
like we can build on it. But
Yeah.
without it, you can't build because you're recreating every year.
Yeah. And I think too, I love that you like really centered around trust because it's very easy, I think, in the speed and pace and franticness of business for things to become transactional. If you were setting this up at the very beginning,
Yeah.
you're talking about things beyond just
Yes.
the I need you to do this thing. You're setting really a pillar of what good communication will look
Yes.
like. There's other things on the expectations conversation, like if something sensitive comes up, people
Yes.
have families, people have deaths in their family. There are going to be things that are going to pull that trust and erode trust. So when you are transparent like this, it really sets a really good foundation of, we're not always going to be on the same page, and this is what it
Right.
can look like when we're not. You've already kind of said that this is something I value. So, any other last thoughts
Yeah.
before we end this today, Kayla?
Well, one thing that you just said, one thing, really important thing about this is that you do it more upfront or in a zone that doesn't have an agenda other than this conversation. So I can't like learn something about you and want to talk to you about it and then have this conversation. Like now it's agenda driven,
Right.
but the beauty of this conversation is it happens outside of any of that drama so that we have rules for the road for when life comes.
Yes.
It's not only like we're probably not going to get along, I guarantee I'm going to offend you. And
Mm.
that's not my goal. And so
Right.
here's our path. I guarantee you're going to disappoint me. That's not your goal. And here's our path. Like life is going to happen. We are going to disappoint one another. None of us are perfect. So let's go ahead and put boundaries and rules of the road so that we get through it. and
Yes.
not just like flounder in some sort of passive aggressive Hades
Yes, I like
until we
that.
get there.
I like that. That does not feel like a place I'd like to go.
Same.
So, well, Kayla, thank you so much. I do think this is so valuable. Leaders, if you heard this today and this resonated with you and you're not sure how to do this, please reach out to us. This is definitely something we could help you with. We want to help you with this. We do believe that good hiring practices lead to good training and good teams. So, we'd love to help you with that as well. But if you're like, I don't know what this document even is, please reach out to us and we will absolutely send that to you. So thank you for today, Kayla. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye bye.